Have you ever noticed how life often seems to be stacked against you, as if everything you do is hampered by invisible obstacles, recurring situations, unresolved problems, people trying to pull the rug out from under you, envy, negative words, and even spiritual forces working silently to see you fail? Perhaps you're tired of struggling, of trying alone and failing, and deep down you've even wondered if there really is a way out of all this. The truth is, there is, and it's not something complicated or distant. It's a simple yet powerful key that can turn your life upside down in just a few days, bringing peace, protection, and victory where before there was only fear, delay, and defeat. What you'll discover here isn't theory. It's not a pretty speech. It's a real practice that great men of faith have already taught and proven with thousands of testimonies around the world. And I'm not talking about something that requires spending money, relying on others, or waiting months to see results. It's something that depends solely on you, your own words, and your decision to put it into practice. 7 days. Just 7 days of repeating a declaration of faith every morning can be the turning point you've been asking God for. I know this promise seems exaggerated, but that's precisely what separates those who believe from those who just hear. You'll understand how to use the right words at the right time, with the right spiritual strength to undo curses, cut through hidden attacks, and pave the way for God to release things that have been blocked in your life for a long time. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll receive this practical key and discover exactly what to say every morning so that in just 7 days you'll begin to see a transformation that no one will be able to deny. What you just heard has the power to turn your life upside down, break chains, and open doors that have been closed for years. This message isn't just another video. It's a game changer for those who decide to put it into practice. And since this word is reaching you, bringing clarity, strength, and protection, reciprocate this transformation now. Subscribe to the channel and like this video. This way, you strengthen this chain of faith and ensure that others receive the same powerful key that has already begun to change your life today. Have you ever stopped to think about the weight words carry? We often speak automatically, blurting out phrases, without even realizing it. But the truth is that every word that leaves our mouths is building something, either building walls or paving paths. It's as if each statement you make is a seed sown in the soil of your life. And then the question arises, what kind of seeds have you been planting every day? Have they been words of defeat, like nothing works for me or my life is hopeless? Or have you been declaring victory, faith, and achievement, as if believing that something greater is already being prepared by God? This is where one of the most powerful secrets that change destinies lies. Look, it's no exaggeration to say that many people remain stuck in the same place because they've learned to repeat words of failure without realizing it. It's like a program they instill within themselves every day. Have you ever seen someone complaining all the time and nothing in their life changes? It's no coincidence. They're watering the wrong soil, feeding the root of defeat with their own mouth. On the other hand, people who learn to declare victory before even seeing the results end up reaping fruits no one expected. And do you know why? Because the spoken word has creative power. When you speak, you bring into existence, you give form. It's like flipping a switch that activates something that was dormant. Now think about it. How many times have you noticed that when you start the day complaining, everything seems to go wrong? You miss the bus, work gets harder, your mood gets spoiled. But when you decide to start the day saying good things, declaring blessings, it seems like even the atmosphere changes. This isn't luck, it's consequence. What you say comes back to you in some way. That's why there's so much teaching showing that words have the power of life and death. And the thing is, just thinking isn't enough, you have to speak. It's speaking that liberates, that moves the environment around you. It's like a daily exercise. You wake up, open your mouth, and begin to determine what your day will be like. It's like setting the right direction on the steering wheel before you set off. If you wake up thinking it's going to be a tough day, full of problems, you can be sure that's what you'll see in every detail. But if you wake up saying it's going to be a blessed day, that doors will open, that nothing can stop you, your outlook changes, your attitudes change, and even circumstances begin to respond differently. It seems simple, but it's precisely this simplicity that makes many people ignore it and remain stuck in the same old complaints. And let me tell you something, even people without faith, when they start applying this principle, Notice changes. They may not understand it spiritually, but the practice works. Now, when you combine this power of the Word with faith in God, everything takes on a new dimension, because you're not just talking for the sake of it, you're declaring what heaven is already prepared to release. It's as if your mouth is the bridge between what God promised and what you'll experience. But this requires consistency. There's no point in talking one day and then complaining the next. It's daily practice, it's discipline, it's a firm decision to use the Word as a weapon and not as a trap against yourself. You might be hearing this and thinking, but I've tried to change the way I speak and haven't been able to. A complaint always slips out. And it's true, no one can change overnight. But that's where the secret of repetition comes in. When you start training your mouth to declare life, prosperity, health, and protection, even if it seems strange at first, little by little it becomes natural. You'll notice that even your thoughts begin to align with what you say. It's as if your mind is reprogrammed to believe what your mouth is affirming. And the most interesting thing is that over time, the results begin to appear in practical, concrete, and visible ways. Now answer me one thing. How many times have you wanted to change a situation, but didn't know where to begin? Well, here's the beginning. Your mouth, it's the starting point. It's not the bank account, it's not the diploma, it's not the help of others. It's you opening your mouth and declaring a new reality every day. It's almost impossible to stay in the same place when you decide to get up in the morning and declare victory. That's why I want you to take a test. Comment below. Victory. Write this word, because this simple act is already a public declaration that you are choosing to plant a new seed in your life. And I want to see who will have the courage to admit it. And pay attention, because what you're learning now is just the beginning of a change that can be much greater. There's a practice that enhances this power of words, something that makes this entire declaration gain even more spiritual strength, especially when applied first thing in the morning. And that's precisely what I'll reveal in the next section, because it's there that you'll understand why the morning is the most strategic time to make these declarations and completely change the direction of your day. Have you ever noticed how the way you start your day determines practically everything that follows? It's amazing how small actions first thing in the morning can set the pace for the entire day. If you wake up late, rushing, complaining, with your head already full of worries, it seems like nothing flows, like everything conspires to go wrong. But when you choose to stop for a few minutes to align your mind and heart with God, the difference is incredible. It's not just psychological, it's spiritual. The morning is like virgin soil, still clean, ready to receive the first seed. And the seed you plant there early in the morning is the one that will grow and bear fruit throughout the day. Just think, you have a cell phone that, when the battery runs out, is useless. It needs to be charged. Morning prayer works. Exactly like this. When you pray in the morning, you're charging your soul, mind, and spirit with the right energy to face everything that lies ahead. It's as if you're armoring yourself before heading out to battle. Because let's be honest, every day is a battle. There are demands at work, problems to solve, temptations, distractions, people who show up just to provoke you, thoughts that arise to bring you down. And here's the difference. Those who start the day without prayer face it all. Alone. Those who pray in the morning face it charged by the presence of God. And you know what's the detail that impresses me most? It doesn't have to be a long prayer, full of difficult words. Just open your mouth and surrender your day into God's hands. Declare blessings upon your life and your family. Ask for protection and give thanks. This simple habit already changes the atmosphere. Because morning prayer isn't about quantity, it's about priority. It's you saying to God, first of all, I put the Lord first. And when you put Him first, even the problems that were already poised to hit you find a barrier. Because you didn't leave the house alone, you left with someone. Many people underestimate this power and think they can pray at any time of the day. Of course you can, God hears at any time. But morning prayer carries a different weight. It's like opening the right gate before you start walking. Without it, you can walk, but you'll stumble more, get more tired, and expend more energy. With it, you start aligned, prepared, and with your mind focused on what truly matters. It's no coincidence that so many spiritual leaders, so many men and women of faith around the world, have this habit of praying early. They understood that the secret is not to start the day by answering text messages, but by first responding to God's call. You might be thinking, but I don't have time in the morning. I wake up rushing to work. And this is where I tell you, you have time. What's missing is priorities, because if you can waste 10 minutes scrolling through your phone first thing in the morning, you can also use those same 10 minutes to pray. It doesn't have to be an hour. Start small. 3 minutes is enough to change the course of your day. But of course, the more you create the habit, the more this time will naturally grow, because you'll feel the need to be there, recharging your soul every morning. Now, let me give you a practical example. Imagine two people who wake up at the same time, go to the same job, and face the same challenges. One of them gets out of bed, turns on their phone, reads heavy messages, and leaves stressed. The other, before looking at anything, prays, "God, I place this day in your hands. Guide me, protect me, and give me wisdom in every decision." Which of the two do you think will have more clarity, calm, and protection during the day? The answer is obvious. And the most incredible thing is that it doesn't depend on talent, money, or social status. It depends solely on choice, and that's why I want you to make a commitment right now. Write the word in the comments, morning. This will be your first public step toward declaring that you're choosing to start your days the right way. It's like a seal, a commitment to yourself that you'll never give up this powerful habit again. Because it's no use just listening and agreeing. You have to put it into practice. And since we're talking about morning prayer, there's one detail that makes all the difference in its results. It's not enough to simply pray. There's a specific way to position yourself, an attitude that transforms prayer into a real weapon against the enemy's attacks. That's what I'll talk about in the next point, because this is where many people get stuck and don't understand why they don't see changes, even when praying every day. There's something many people still don't understand. Prayer is essential, declaration is powerful, but none of this has any real effect if there's no trust in God. This is where many people stumble, because they pray, speak beautifully, and even start the day right, but deep down their minds remain full of doubts and fears. It's like someone who plants a seed and digs the ground every day to see if it has sprouted. This lack of trust kills the result before it appears. When you pray but don't trust, you are nullifying the prayer itself. Trusting God means truly surrendering. It means stopping holding everything in your hands and understanding that there's someone infinitely greater taking care of the details. But that's not easy, is it? Because our nature is to want control, to want immediate answers, to want to understand every step. But trusting God is just the opposite. It's walking without seeing the whole path, but believing that He already knows where you'll end up. And this is where transformation begins, when you stop relying on your own strength and place your faith in the right source. I know it may sound cliché, but think about it. How many times have you spent sleepless nights worrying about a problem and nothing has changed? How many times have you exhausted yourself trying to solve something that wasn't in your control? The worst this can do is exhaustion, anxiety, and frustration. Now, when you choose to trust even without seeing a solution, you change your approach. The problem may still be there, but the way you face it is different. You sleep peacefully because you know you're not alone. You make decisions with greater clarity because you believe God is guiding your steps, and even the people around you notice this difference. Trusting in God doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for everything to fall from the sky. It means taking action, but taking action with the certainty that there is a God opening the right doors, closing the wrong ones, and supporting you in every detail. It's a partnership. You do your part, He does His, and let me tell you, He never fails. The problem is that we often want Him to do things our way, in our time, but trusting also means accepting that His timing is different, and that in the end, it will always be better than we expected. I know it's not easy to surrender control. It's scary. It seems like if you let go, you'll lose everything. But in reality, it's when you let go that you start to win. It's when you truly surrender that doors open. And here's a secret. God doesn't act in the lives of those who doubt all the time. He acts in the lives of those who trust, even when they have no human guarantees. That's why people with firm faith achieve results that seem impossible. It's not because they're special, it's because they understand this principle of trust. Now let me ask you, do you really trust, or do you just say you trust? Because the difference lies in attitude. Those who trust don't despair at the first problem. Those who trust don't start saying negative things right after praying. Those who trust remain Steadfast even when everything seems to be going wrong. And this steadfastness is what changes the game. I want you to write your words here in the comments. I trust. Write this as an act of faith, as a public declaration that you are choosing to truly trust, not just pay lip service. And this is where something even more profound comes in. When you trust, your prayer isn't just a request, it becomes a powerful weapon. But this weapon needs to be used correctly, and that's exactly what the next point will show you. Because without understanding this detail, many people pray but still don't experience true victory. Many people still treat prayer as a formality, almost like a list of requests we hand over to God and then return to our daily routine. But prayer goes far beyond that. It's not just a nice habit or an emotional release. Prayer is a weapon. And I'm not talking about just any weapon. I'm talking about something that can completely change a situation, break down invisible resistance and open doors that had been locked for years. That's why there are so many stories of people who only managed to overcome their difficulties after learning to use prayer as a spiritual weapon, not just a religious routine. Think about it. Every day you face struggles that aren't visible. It's not just the late bill, the problem at work, or the person who provokes you. There's a spiritual level where things are being decided. There are attacks that don't appear to the human eye, but that affect your mind, your peace, your energy, and even your health. It's like being in a silent war, where you only notice the effects: unexplained fatigue, doors that suddenly close, relationships that fall apart, a constant pressure to give up. And it's precisely against this that prayer stands. It is the shield that protects and, at the same time, the sword that cuts through the enemy's plans. Now, look at the detail. It's not the number of words that gives power to prayer, but the faith and conviction you put into it. It's the certainty that you're not speaking alone, but that the entire heavens are moving based on what you've declared. When you pray, you're not just asking, you're activating spiritual forces that work in your favor. It's as if each word you speak is an arrow that hits the very thing that was trying to bring you down. And here's something many people forget. Those who don't pray leave themselves vulnerable. It's like going to war without armor, without weapons, just waiting to see what will happen. Have you ever noticed how after praying, even without having resolved the problem yet, you already feel relief, already feel strength? This isn't just psychological, it's spiritual. It's the immediate effect of prayer as a weapon. It clears the mind, strengthens the heart, and puts you in a position of victory, even before you see the change happening. That's why people so often say, "I only managed to win because I was in prayer." Prayer isn't a detail. It's the line that separates those who fall from those who remain standing. Now, I know you've probably thought, but I pray and nothing seems to happen. And it's normal to feel that way at some point, because we want immediate results. But remember what we said in the previous point, trusting means not giving up. When you pray persistently, even without seeing it, it's like insisting on knocking on a door until it opens. Each prayer is a blow against what holds you back. One prayer alone may not knock down the wall, but several together will, because it's impossible for God to ignore the insistence of those who pray with faith. And here's an important point. Prayer isn't just about asking for blessings. It's about fighting against what's trying to steal your life. It's when you open your mouth and declare, "This won't bring me down. This disease won't defeat me. This envy won't reach me. This plan against me won't prosper." This kind of prayer is a pure weapon. It's the resistance that keeps the enemy from advancing. Therefore, those who learn to pray this way begin to experience victories that previously seemed impossible. I want you to do something now to mark this decision. Comment on the word "arm" down here. This isn't just a comment. It's a way for you to publicly declare that from now on you'll use prayer the right way, as a weapon, not a formality. I'll even look at the comments to see who's truly determined to enter this war on the right side. And since we're talking about prayer as a weapon, there's an ingredient that transforms it into something even more powerful. There's no point in using prayer loosely and then giving up. There's a key that enhances its power, and that's precisely what we'll discuss in the next section. Because this is where many people make mistakes without realizing it and end up tiring before seeing victory arrive. One of the biggest traps that makes people give up before seeing victory is a lack of persistence. Many people pray once, declare once, even start out excited, but when they don't see immediate results, they drop everything and go back to the same old routine. But spiritual things and even the practical things in life don't work that way. Persistence is the bridge that connects what you declared to what you will experience. It's persisting until results appear, even if it seems like nothing is happening. Think about how many situations in your daily life require persistence. If you decide to lose weight, there's no point in going to the gym once and expecting your body to change. If you want to learn a language, it's not enough to study for a day and believe you'll speak it fluently. Everything that brings about transformation requires repetition, constant effort, and habit. Why then would it be any different in the spiritual life? Persistence is what separates those who just talk the talk from those who truly follow through on their promises. And do you know why this is so serious? Because as you persist, God is working behind the scenes. You may not see it right away, but every prayer, every declaration, every act of faith is a brick placed in the construction of victory. Sometimes you're in the process and think, nothing has changed. But in reality, so much has already changed that you can't see it. It's like a seed buried underground. For weeks, you water it, tend it, and nothing appears. But suddenly, when you least expect it, the sprout breaks the surface. But this breakthrough only happens because you persisted in watering, even without seeing anything. The problem is that most people give up before this breakthrough. They start strong, but stop halfway. And that's exactly what the enemy wants. For you to lose your constancy, to become discouraged, to think it's not worth it. Because he knows that if you persist, there's no way to stop the outcome. That's why so often, when you start praying and persisting, things seem to get worse. It's not because things are going wrong, it's because you're bothering the other side. Persistence makes noise in the spiritual world. I know that sometimes discouragement sets in. Who hasn't thought, I've prayed so much, I've talked so much, and nothing has happened? But that's when you need to understand, the miracle may be just a step away. And giving up at this point is like quitting a race 5 meters from the finish line. You've already made it all the way, but you didn't see the prize because you couldn't hold on any longer. Persistence isn't easy, but it's what ensures you'll see what God has already prepared. So let me give you some practical advice. Make a commitment. Decide that you won't stop until you see results. If you started this declaration journey in the morning, stick to it. It doesn't matter if nothing happened on the first or second day, keep going until you complete the process. Because it's consistency that creates transformation. It's the same in any area of life. And the spiritual is no different. Persistence is the key that keeps the door open until you can walk through. I want you to write the word here in the comments firm. Write this down because it's your way of committing to persistence. It's a simple act, but it already begins to cultivate within you this mindset of not giving up. Whoever writes firm is already declaring, I'll go all the way, I won't stop halfway. And since we're talking about persistence, there's something even stronger that comes with it, fueling us to keep going, even when everything seems difficult. It's an invisible weapon, but one that transforms the heart and keeps the expectation of miracles alive. In the next section, I'll show you how this key works and why it can change not only your life, but also the lives of everyone around you. One thing you need to understand is that miracles don't just happen to others. They happen to those who decide to believe, persist, and put themselves in the right place before God. And this is where something that strengthens anyone's faith comes in. Testimonies. Hearing or reading real stories of people who saw doors open, illnesses disappear, impossible situations change overnight, serves one purpose, to show that God continues to act. It's not coincidence, it's not luck. It's an answer for those who trusted and didn't give up. And the most important detail is that when you expose yourself to testimonies, your expectations increase. You begin to think, if it happened to him, it can happen to me too. How many times have you heard someone tell you they overcame something that seemed impossible and that gave you strength? That's the power of testimony. It creates hope in those who are about to give up. It shows that what seemed unattainable can become reality. It's like a spark igniting inside you saying, it's not over, it can still work. And the most incredible thing is that this cycle doesn't stop with you. One person's testimony awakens faith in another, who will then experience the miracle and become a witness themselves. It's a chain that never breaks. But to experience this, you need to create real expectation. And here's a point many overlook. You only receive as much as you expect. Those who expect nothing see nothing. Those who pray without belief are merely fulfilling a formality. But those who expect a miracle, even without seeing it, already begin preparing for it. It's like someone who believes so much that they're going to receive an important visitor that they tidy the house, set the table, and dress for the reception even before the person arrives. Expectation is a test of faith, and God responds to faith. Let me tell you something practical. I've heard stories of people who spent years trying to get a job, and when they began declaring every day that the right door would open, within weeks they were called for interviews they'd never had before. I've seen people whose health was in shambles who began praying, persistently, trusting every word spoken, until a diagnosis radically changed their lives. This isn't theory, it's real. And the more you listen, speak, and feed on these testimonies, the more your heart will create space for the miracle to happen too. And there's another powerful detail. When a miracle happens in your life, you can't keep it to yourself. Your testimony will be fuel for someone who is now where you once were. It will be an answer for those who think there's no way out. It will be living proof that trusting in God is worth it. And that's why I want you to write the word in the comments. Miracle. Write this word because it's a seed of expectation you're planting. It's like saying, I'm waiting for mine and I'll tell you when it happens. Now think with me. If witnessing and expectation are so powerful, imagine when they're combined with a continuous practice, something that keeps that flame burning every day, never letting it go out. There's a simple habit that connects all this expectation to a powerful spiritual discipline, and that's precisely what we'll talk about in the next section. The time has come to put all this into practice. It's no use just listening, agreeing, and thinking it's nice. True transformation comes when you decide to act. And the action here is simple, but it requires commitment. Utter the right words of faith and trust every morning for 7 days in a row. It may seem small, but it's precisely this consistency that will show whether you're just listening or whether you truly want to experience concrete change. It's like someone who receives a recipe and leaves it in a drawer. Until you get started, you'll never taste the result. You've already understood that words have power, that morning prayer is key, that trusting in God changes everything, that prayer is a weapon, and that persistence opens doors. You've also seen how testimonies awaken faith and how expectation prepares the ground for miracles. Now is the time to unite all of this into a real commitment. And this commitment starts today, not tomorrow, not next week. It's from now on. It's about deciding that for 7 days, nothing will stop you from rising up and declaring victory before anything else. And do you know why this is so powerful? Because it doesn't depend on circumstances. You may have little or a lot. You may be going through a huge struggle or living in a time of peace. It doesn't matter. What matters is the decision to open your mouth and put God at the center of your day. When you do this, your environment changes, your mind changes, and little by little, even situations begin to respond differently. It's not magic, it's a principle, and principles never fail. Those who apply them reap the rewards. Now, I want to be very direct with you. Don't treat this like just any video. This is a spiritual key being handed to you. How many times have you asked God for an answer, a way out, a sign? And now you're here, receiving clear, practical, and simple instructions. So what are you going to do with this? Are you just going to listen and go about your life as usual, or are you going to take a stand and apply it? This is the decision that will separate those who merely listen from those who truly experience change. This content brought you clarity, showed you practically how speaking the right words in the morning can change your day, and opened your eyes to a principle that goes far beyond a simple habit. It's a key to transformation that you've already begun to receive here. Now that this light has reached you, it's only fair that others have access to it as well. When you like and subscribe to the channel, you're not only helping this work continue, but you're multiplying this same key that has just strengthened your faith. And to mark this commitment, comment below, transformation, because that is exactly what started happening in your life today. And look, what you've experienced here was just the gateway. The next video, which is already appearing on the screen, will take you even deeper, revealing secrets that will accelerate this process and unlock areas you may not have even realized were blocked. This journey isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. And what's coming next is even bigger, stronger, and full of the answers you've been waiting for.